The boundary breakers. The void between stars held many secrets, but none so fiercely guarded as the empty zone at the edge of the Orion Arm. Commander Ilara Voss stood at the viewport of the Nebula Seeker, her eyes fixed on the darkness ahead. 23 years of exploration had taught her to recognize patterns in the cosmos, to see meaning in the arrangement of celestial bodies. But this emptiness defied explanation. "Commander, we're approaching the unmarked region," Lieutenant Tavik reported, his four-fingered hands dancing across the navigation console. Like all Centaurians, his blue-tinged skin reflected the soft glow of the instruments, giving him an almost ethereal appearance in the dim bridge lighting. "Status report," Ilara commanded, never taking her eyes from the viewport. "All systems nominal. But there's something odd about this sector." Star charts end abruptly. No data beyond this point from any civilization in the Galactic Consortium. Ilara nodded slowly. The Consortium united 12,000 species across 8 spiral arms of the Milky Way. Their combined knowledge spanned millions of years. For something to be missing from their collective memory wasn't just unusual, it was impossible. "Any signals? Any indication of what lies beyond?" she asked. Chief Science Officer Rendu moved to her side, his exoskeleton clicking softly with each step. "Nothing conventional, Commander. But there is a resonance, a vibration in subspace that doesn't match any known pattern. Meaning? Meaning someone, or something, wanted this area forgotten." Rendu's compound eyes reflected the starlight, fracturing it into countless tiny points. Yet they left a warning that transcends language. The bridge fell silent as the implications settled over the crew. The Nebula Seeker was the most advanced exploratory vessel in the Consortium fleet, designed to chart the unknown and make first contact with undiscovered civilizations. But they had never encountered a region of space that actively resisted discovery. "Show me the boundary line," Ilara ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a three-dimensional map of their position. The stars ended abruptly ahead of them, not in the natural gradual thinning of a galactic arm, but in a perfect arc, as though someone had drawn a line across space itself and decreed, "No further." "Impossible," Ilara whispered. "Natural phenomena didn't create perfect geometric shapes across light years of space." Lieutenant Tavik's console emitted a soft chime. "Commander, we're receiving something. A signal. But it's not on any standard frequency." "Origin." "That's just it. It seems to be coming from everywhere. From the boundary itself." "Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled to life, but instead of words or code, a sound filled the room. It wasn't a sound meant for ears. It bypassed their auditory organs and resonated directly within their minds. A warning, ancient and powerful, that needed no translation. "Turin Bass." Several crew members winced, clutching their heads. Ilara felt it too. Not pain, exactly, but a pressure, a certainty that had been embedded into the very fabric of space itself. "Analysis," she demanded, fighting to maintain her composure. Rendu was already working at his station, mandibles clicking in concentration. "The signal contains embedded information, fragments of memory, emotion. It's a record of what happened here, to those who came before." With a gesture, he transferred the data to the main screen. Images flashed before them. Massive battle fleets disintegrating in silent explosions, planets cracking like eggs, stars collapsing into themselves. And through it all, a blue-green world, small and unassuming, yet somehow at the center of the devastation. "Earth," Ilara breathed. "That's Earth." The name hung in the air like a forbidden incantation. Earth, the mythical homeworld of humans, a species that had vanished from galactic affairs millennia ago. Some claimed they had ascended beyond physical form. Others believed they had destroyed themselves in some catastrophic war. But all agreed on one thing: Earth itself was lost, its location purged from all star charts. Yet here it was, somehow connected to this boundary. This warning. "Commander," Tavik said hesitantly. Protocol dictates we report this finding and retreat to safe space. Ilara didn't respond immediately. 23 years of pushing boundaries, of expanding knowledge, and now she stood at the edge of the greatest mystery of all. A mystery that had been deliberately hidden. Prepare a complete data package for transmission to Consortium headquarters, she finally said. Include everything we've discovered about this boundary, and then plot a course through it. A ripple of shock passed through the bridge crew. Commander, Rendu protested. The warning is clear. Whatever lies beyond is knowledge. Ilara cut him off. Knowledge that someone decided the galaxy shouldn't have. She turned to face her crew, back straight, eyes resolute. I didn't cross 17,000 light years to stop at the first keep out sign we encountered. The crew exchanged glances, a mixture of concern and excitement passing between them. They were explorers, after all. Pushing boundaries was in their nature. Transmitting data package now. Communications Officer Lin reported, her tendrils undulating with nervous energy. Course plotted, Tavik added. Awaiting your command. Ilara returned to the viewport, staring into the uncharted void beyond the boundary. Engage. The Nebula Seeker's engines hummed to life, propelling the ship forward. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, as they crossed the invisible line, reality flickered. The stars disappeared, replaced by absolute darkness. The ship's systems went haywire, displays flashing with incomprehensible readings before shutting down entirely. For 3 terrifying seconds, they were blind, deaf, and powerless in a void beyond comprehension. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, it ended. The stars returned, but they were different stars, in different configurations. And directly ahead of them, floating in the blackness of space, was a massive structure. Full stop, Ilara ordered, her voice barely above a whisper. The structure before them defied conventional architecture. It wasn't a space station or a ship, not in any recognizable sense. It resembled a geometric lattice, extending in all directions, composed of what appeared to be pure energy given physical form. At its center pulsed a light so intense that the view screen automatically dimmed to protect their eyes. Are we receiving any transmissions? Ilara asked. Lin shook her head. Nothing on standard frequencies. But she hesitated. There's something probing our systems, an intelligence scanning our database. As if in response to her words, the main screen flickered in change. The image of the structure disappeared, replaced by text in an ancient language that Ilara recognized with a shock. Human English. Identification VER. HFY. Ninibulala Seeker. Co-Enso exploratory vessel. Captain. ELAROVOSS. How does it know who we are? Tavik whispered. Your INT uses a lot. AAA's Nui and LOGGD. Earth Security Protocol activated. Before anyone could respond, the ship's database began cycling through information at impossible speeds, displaying file after file on the screen. The entire history of the Galactic Consortium, flowing past too quickly to read. It's extracting our historical records, Rendu said in alarm. Everything we know about galactic civilization since. Search parameteors. Last CONTCT with human species. Result 3,427 standard years ago. The screen went blank momentarily, then displayed a single sentence. You have forgotten us. We have not forgotten you. A shudder ran through the ship as an unseen force took hold of them. The engines reactivated, but not under their control. We're being pulled toward the structure, Tavik reported, frantically trying to regain control of navigation. All systems responding to external commands. Ilara gripped the edge of the viewport. Open a communication channel. All frequencies. Channel open, Lin confirmed. This is Commander Ilara Voss of the consortium vessel Nebula Seeker. We come in peace, seeking knowledge. We mean no harm to Earth or its people." For a long moment, there was no response. Then, as they drew closer to the pulsing core of the structure, a voice filled the bridge, not through the speakers, but directly in their minds, just as the warning had been. "PC is irrelevant. Knowledge is dangerous. You were warned." The voice held no emotion, no inflection. It wasn't hostile. It was simply stating facts. "We are explorers," Ilara insisted. "We seek to understand. Your species so you to understand 5,891 years ago. 64.3% of all sentient life in the Galactic was eradicated as a result." The ship continued its inexorable journey toward the light at the center of the structure. The crew watched in helpless fascination as the lattice opened before them, creating a pathway directly to the core. "Commander," Rendu said quietly, "I believe I know what this is. The ancient records. There were rumors of a catastrophic war that nearly destroyed all galactic civilization. A war so terrible that its causes were deliberately erased from history. And Earth was at the center of it," Ilara concluded. "Incorrect. Earth was the solution." Images began to flood the view screen again. But these were different from the war scenes they had witnessed earlier. These showed Earth itself through different periods of its history. The evolution of a species from primitive tool users to masters of their planet. The development of technology, culture, art, and then their first hesitant steps into space. Humans were not ETAEAGGORESOSORS. Humans were GTAEPURAI. The images shifted, showing alien fleets, thousands of ships from dozens of species, many unrecognizable even to the diverse crew of the Nebula Seeker, all converging on the small blue planet. "We were hunted for our potential. For we might be Siwam." The final image showed Earth surrounded, bombarded, its cities burning. And then, something impossible. The planet itself seeming to awaken, a blinding light emanating from its core, expanding outward to engulf the attacking fleets. And so we BCA-8. The screen went dark as the Nebula Seeker reached the center of the structure. The light enveloped them, not destructive but revealing, as though they were being studied on a molecular level. The Beondara EXISTs, to PROTEXET. Not Earth from the Galaxy, but the Galaxy from Earth. "I don't understand," Ilara said. "What did humanity become?" In answer, the light receded, and through the viewport, they could now see what lay at the heart of the structure, a perfect replica of Earth, suspended in space. But this wasn't a planet in any conventional sense. It was a construct of pure energy, shifting and flowing like a living thing. "We TRNSCENDD. We EVOLVD. We'd BECAM one with our world. We'd BCAM so me thing. The JLXY was not ready to understand." As they watched, the Earth construct pulsed, and with each pulse, waves of energy rippled outward through space itself. "For your protection, all many Inorai of Earth was removed from DHEC Minodology of Galactic species. The boundary was stabilized. The warning was EMBEDDED. But why reveal yourself to us now?" Ilara asked. "Because you crossed TABO in DRI. Because you so UGT NODOLEGG regardless of cons EQENC. Because you ELARAVOSS share the same curiosity they at once defined humanity." The ship trembled as another wave of energy passed through it, But this time, it carried information, flowing directly into their minds, bypassing language and sensory input. Ilara gasped as understanding bloomed within her. The true history of the galaxy unfolded in her consciousness. The ancient war, the fear of human potential, the desperate alliance of species determined to exterminate humanity before it could evolve further, and Earth's response, not extinction, but transformation. Humans had not been destroyed, they had merged with their planet, becoming a collective consciousness of unimaginable power. And now, after millennia of self-imposed isolation, Earth was aware of the galaxy once more. UHFY from our vigil. Now we must decide. Is the Galactic ready for our return? As the question echoed in their minds, Ilara knew with terrible certainty that the fate of all civilized species now hung in the balance, and the judgment would begin with her answer. The awakening of Terra. Time had no meaning within the heart of Earth's construct. Commander Ilara Voss couldn't tell if minutes or hours had passed as the consciousness of the transformed planet examined her thoughts, her memories, her very essence. The rest of the crew remained frozen in place, caught in their own communion with the entity. Your ANSWR is important, ELARAVOSS, not just a for your crew, not just a for your CONSO or TWM, but a for all life in this galaxy. The pressure of Earth's attention was overwhelming. Ilara struggled to organize her thoughts, to find words worthy of such a moment. I can't speak for an entire galaxy, she finally managed. But I can tell you what I've learned in 23 years of exploration. Life persists. It adapts. It grows. The consortium that exists today isn't the alliance that attacked Earth millennia ago. We've evolved too. She felt Earth's consciousness shift, probing deeper into her memories, examining the truth of her words. Yet fear remains THEDUMINANTRESPOSE to the unknown. We sense it in you now. Fear of us. Fear of what we might do. Fear is natural, Ilara acknowledged. But it doesn't have to control our actions. I feared what lay beyond the boundary, but curiosity was stronger. Understanding is the antidote to fear. A ripple passed through the construct, and Ilara sensed what might have been amusement, or perhaps approval. You speak like humans once did. Perhaps that it is, wo do I heat bear IR, ALOGOEGU PSAG, way in OTERs were 2 RNED away. Images flashed through Ilara's mind. Other ships, other explorers who had approached the boundary over the millennia. Most had heeded the warning and turned back. Those few who tried to force their way through were simply redirected, their navigational systems subtly altered, their memories of the attempt gently erased. The Nebula Seeker was the first ship in over 3,000 years to successfully cross the threshold. We will show you the truth, the whole truth. Then you will decide if the galaxy is ready. The light around them intensified, and suddenly they were no longer aboard their ship, or rather, their consciousness had been transported elsewhere, while their physical forms remained behind. Ilara found herself, or the projection of herself, standing on a vast plain under an alien sky. The rest of her senior crew materialized beside her, looking around in confusion and wonder. Where are we? Lieutenant Tavik asked, his voice strangely distant despite standing right beside her. The beginning. The end. The moment of transformation. The landscape around them shifted, and they were suddenly in orbit above Earth, the real Earth, not the energy construct. Below them, a desperate battle raged. Thousands of alien vessels surrounded the planet, weapons blazing. The planet's defenses were failing. Cities burned across every continent. The final assault, a voice said, and Ilara turned to see a human standing beside them, a man in a simple uniform, his face lined with exhaustion and determination. 57 species united in one goal: our extinction. Why? Rendu asked, his scientific curiosity overcoming his shock. What threat could one species pose to warrant such an attack? The human's smile was sad. Potential. They saw what we might become and decided it was safer to eliminate us before we got there. He gestured, and time accelerated around them. They almost succeeded. They watched as Earth's defenses crumbled. Billions died in the assault. Human colonies throughout their solar system were reduced to ash. The extinction of humanity seemed inevitable. But then, the human continued. We discovered something. Something buried deep within our planet. Something that had been waiting. The scene shifted again, and they were deep underground in a vast chamber. In its center stood a crystalline structure, pulsing with energy unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. We called it the Nexus, the human explained. An artifact left by, well, we never discovered by whom. Perhaps by the first intelligence to evolve in our galaxy. Perhaps by something from beyond. What mattered was what it offered. Transformation. Around the Nexus, humans worked frantically, connecting the artifact to massive machines. With our extinction imminent, we made a choice. Not to die. Not to surrender. But to become something new. The scene changed again, returning to the orbital view of the besieged Earth. But now, something was happening. A pulse of energy emanated from the planet's core, spreading outward in concentric waves. As it touched the attacking fleets, ships simply disappeared. Not destroyed, not damaged, just gone, as if they had never existed. We merged with the Nexus, the human said quietly. All of us. Every surviving human consciousness became part of a new entity, and Earth itself became our body. The waves continued outward, expanding beyond the solar system, beyond neighboring stars, until they encompassed a sphere thousands of light years across. And then, abruptly, they stopped. We could have continued, the human said. We could have extended that wave to encompass the entire galaxy. Every species that had participated in the assault could have been removed from existence. Ilara felt a chill at the casual way he described such absolute power. But that wasn't who we were. That wasn't who we wanted to become. So we established the boundary instead. We removed knowledge of Earth from the collective memory of galactic civilization. We let them believe they had won, that humans were extinct. And we withdrew to contemplate what we had become. For over 5,000 years, Chief Science Officer Rendu asked, incredulous. The human, or the representation of what humans had once been, smiled again. Time passes differently for us now. 5,000 years is but a moment in the contemplation of eternity. The scene shifted once more, and they were back in the presence of the Earth construct, aboard their ship. But now they could see it differently, see the billions of individual consciousnesses that composed it, all united yet each distinct, a symphony of minds working in perfect harmony. This is what we are in now, neither human nor machine nor planet, but ALO3 and more. Ilara struggled to comprehend the scale of it. An entire species, evolved beyond physical form, yet still anchored to their homeworld. And now, she asked, what happens now that we found you? That DEPENDs on your answer, ELARA is the Galactic ready for our return? She considered carefully before responding. The fate of countless civilizations rested on her words. Not yet, she finally said, surprising even herself with the answer. The consortium has achieved peace, but it's a fragile peace. The sudden reappearance of Earth, especially an Earth with your capabilities, would destabilize everything. Fear would lead to preemptive action. History might repeat itself. She felt the weight of Earth's attention, measuring the truth of her assessment. But, she continued, isolation isn't the answer either. You've been hidden for too long. The galaxy has evolved without your influence, without your wisdom. Perhaps a middle path exists. Explain. Let us be your emissaries. Let the nebula seeker return with knowledge, not of your true nature, not yet, but of Earth's continued existence. Let us prepare the way, gradually reintroduce humanity to galactic consciousness. When fear and shock have passed, when understanding has taken root, then you can fully reveal yourselves. The Earth construct pulsed, and Ilara sensed a ripple of discussion flowing through its collective consciousness. Billions of former humans debating her proposal. Your Sesugg Styon, Hayes me right. But there is risk. Some will remember the old FERs. Some will seek to finish WJ8 UVs stay RTD millennia ago. Yes, Ilara acknowledged. But that's true no matter how you return. At least this way, there's a chance for peaceful reintegration. Another pulse, another ripple of discussion. Then, a decision. We HCC PT your PROPOSL ELAR8 VOSS. You will be our herald. But no TKS. Should your Sionis or to Ivam, Rarispo and with hostility. We will notice SHOV the same restraint we did 5,000 years ago. The threat was clear, and Ilara felt its weight settle on her shoulders. She would return with a truth that could either herald a new age of cooperation or trigger the final destruction of everything she knew. I understand, she said, and I accept the responsibility. Then, ATOS decided. The light around them began to fade, the Earth construct receding. We will modify your ship's systems. You will be able to navigate. ATTAK Beomderi at while. And we will MPL into certain knowledge, enough to PROV Earth's EXISTNC, without revealing our true nature. As the light dimmed further, Ilara felt a presence in her mind. Gentle but unmistakable. A direct connection to the Earth consciousness. One final gift. ELARA VOSS. Should you need the TUEC and take US direct lie. You know do the means. Use it wisely. And then they were alone again. The massive structure disappearing as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving only open space before them. The ship's systems returned to normal, displays showing they were exactly where they had been before crossing the boundary. Did that really happen? Lieutenant Tavik whispered, breaking the stunned silence that had fallen over the bridge. In answer, the main view screen activated, displaying information that hadn't been in their database before. Star charts showing Earth's location, historical records of human civilization, biological data on the species. Enough to prove they had made contact, but nothing that revealed the true nature of what Earth had become. It happened, Ilara confirmed. And now we have to decide what to do with this knowledge. The crew looked to her, waiting for direction. The responsibility was enormous. Their report would shape the galaxy's response to Earth's potential return. Set a course for Consortium headquarters, she finally ordered. Priority 1. We have information that the High Council needs to hear immediately. As the Nebula Seeker turned away from the boundary, Ilara remained at the viewport, staring into the void where the Earth construct had been. She could still feel the connection in her mind, dormant now, but present. A direct line to a power beyond comprehension. Commander. Communications Officer Lin approached hesitantly. The crew is concerned about what happens when we return, about how the Consortium will react. Ilara nodded. The fear was justified. They were returning with knowledge that had been deliberately erased from history, knowledge that some would prefer remained buried. Tell them to trust in curiosity, she said. The same curiosity that brought us across the boundary. The desire to understand is stronger than the desire to destroy. It has to be, or we wouldn't deserve to survive the coming changes. As the ship accelerated away from Earth's domain, a signal pulsed out from the boundary, undetectable by conventional sensors, but felt across the vastness of space by those with the sensitivity to perceive it. A ripple in the cosmic background, a subtle shift in the fabric of reality. Earth was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the distant chambers of power across a dozen worlds, ancient warning systems, installed and then forgotten millennia ago, suddenly activated. Alarms that hadn't sounded in 5,000 years began to wail. And those few who still remembered the old stories, who still carried the genetic memory of the terrible war against humanity, looked up in sudden dread. The boundary had been breached, the sleeper had awakened, and the galaxy would soon remember why, long ago, they had agreed to erase Earth from every star chart, to draw a line across space itself, and to whisper to their children, beyond this point, there be monsters. But monsters, as Commander Ilara Voss now understood, were often just misunderstood guardians, and perhaps, just perhaps, it was time for the galaxy to face its fears, and, in doing so, discover a path to a future greater than any species could achieve alone. The age of isolation was ending. The age of reunion was about to begin, and whether it brought destruction or transcendence would depend on the wisdom of those who received Ilara's message. Earth was waiting, and this time it would not be denied its place among the stars.